Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another Saturday Anything Goes. Hope you're having a great weekend. Those of you who follow me, I posted some handmade DSP earlier this week and got to looking at it and thought, wow, those are going to make some great cards. And so I thought, self, why don't we just use that as our Saturday Anything Goes project? And voila, here we are. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I love the stamp set New Wonders. And let me just bring that bad boy in here. It is so whimsical and cute. I love the little fairies. It has, I love the font on the sayings. And it's just, the whole thing is very, very whimsical. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for little boys or little girls or little anybody's. I would love to get a card in the mail sent to me with any one of these cute little garden fairies is what I'm calling them, because I just love the whimsy of it. And I love it, but it does not have any dies to go with it, so you can't bundle it. And B, it doesn't have any pattern paper. In other words, it did not come up in the annual catalog as a suite. That's not a problem. I can make my own pattern paper, and that's what I did. Hello, Karen. Hi, Sandy. Thanks, ladies, for joining. And so this is an 8x8 piece of Whisper White that I had as a scrap. I needed 2.5 inches for something else I was doing. And I thought, well, what can I do with this? And that's when the light bulb went off. And I'm going to show you how I cut it up. What was my reasoning for cutting it up? So this is like a one-sheet wonder, but kind of different, because with the one-sheet wonder, you don't really have to necessarily worry about patterns and things. You just worry about sizes that you want on your card. With this, I definitely wanted to pay attention to the pattern. And as you can probably see, I have already cut it up. I laid it out just to make sure that I had all the pieces, just because I wanted to see how many cards we were going to be able to make. And some of these pieces you say, wow, okay, that's weird. But I think you'll understand once we get started. So how did I figure out how to cut this? Well, I looked at this, just pretend it's not all cut up. And I looked at the center and went, okay, I'm not going to be giving up anything terribly important if I cut it at 4 1/4. So that was my first cut. After that, I just went through and said, I want to preserve all of the little fairies, and that way I'll have more of them to use for cards. So this one was the very first one that I cut, and I cut that one at 4 1/4 by 3 inches. And then, of course, we've got this lovely little fairy up here in Purple Posy that I wanted to cut out, and that is 3 inches by 4 1/4. So it's kind of the opposite of this one. This is landscape, this is portrait, right? So that gave me those two pieces. Well, when I did that, I ended up with this thing, and I said, you know, I'll come back to that later. So I worked on this side. I've got this adorable little fairy with the pen. So that one I cut again at 3 by 4 1/4. That gives me a nice size panel for a card. So that automatically made this piece 4 1/4 by 1 3/4. And as you see, there's really not anything I needed to preserve or anything that would be lost by it being that piece. And these come in very handy, as I'll show you. Now, this little fairy in Purple Posy, I chopped off a little bit of the bottom, but you can still see her very clearly. And so that worked out. And that left my last little panel here, again, with a Rococo Rose Fairy. This one is 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. Oh, and by the way, this one is 1 1/4 by 4 1/4. So those are the pieces that I ended up with. And that's what we're going to work with tonight. Now, I promised a couple of people that I would just real quick run through how I did this. So I've got a piece of scratch paper here, and I've got some scratch paper there. And I've just loaded a couple of the stamps. The main stamps I used were, of course, the fairies. These beautiful leaves are from Very Vintage. I can't get enough of that. And then my flowers here are from what are they from? Hang on, I've got it here. They're from Free as a Bird. So if you love the Free as a Bird suite, you probably already had that nailed. And I wanted to use some of the in colors. Hi, Marie. So I went to 3 that I think go together beautifully. Rococo Rose, Seaside Spray, and Purple Posy. I just love the 3 of those together. And I needed a couple of backup colors. The leaves have to be green, so Pear Pizzazz turned out to work great for that. And my little flowers, I did them in petal pink because I really didn't want them to take over. I wanted the fairies to be the main thing that you saw and to have your eyes drawn to how they were surrounded by leaves. So real quick, just let me show you how I did this. We'll do this one in Rococo Rose. I probably chose a different color, but when I'm doing my own pattern paper, I take my biggest image first, in which case it would have been, you know, more than one image because I had 3 fairies, and I would just stamp in different areas. Now, obviously, I would have done different ones since I've got 3, but that just kind of gives you an idea. And then my leaves are my next biggest, so I came in with them. Just ink this up real quick. And I chose to put them in areas that would sort of frame the image that I wanted to preserve. Always remember, if you're making your own, to twist your paper around. That way it doesn't look like it's too matchy-matchy. And your leaves can go all different directions. So we'll just leave it good. Let me put one more little one over here just for some interest. All right, so basically what you're doing, you've got your main image down. Now you're working with your fillers. Once that was done, I brought in my petal pink and started stamping in my flowers. And that also is going to help take up any space where you feel like you've got too much white showing. And the little flower is just perfect for getting into those little areas. And there's nothing that says you can't have flowers next to each other. But I'm not going to do any more, but you get the idea. All right. Very, very quickly, you can create your own pattern paper in the colors you want with the stamps that go with that stamp set. All right, any questions about that? Oof, I can't get this closed. There we go. If not, then we're going to go on and let's make some cards. You want it? It's going to be fun. Now, I did some, cut some of the, what am I trying to say? Some of the pieces for the card that will be assembled, like, you know, backgrounds and things like that, just to save us time. So mostly we're going to work on today talking about colors and what sentiments we want. All right, so I've got all that done. I'll put them away over here for the minute, but we'll need those for our sentiments. And let me bring back in, there we go. And let's just say I want to start with this guy or girl, whatever it is right here. So I'm going to pick that one up. And let's see, this is number 1. Woohoo! So as I mentioned, I went ahead and did my card base and cut up some little elements that we may or may not use. They just kind of look cool. And let me show you my vision for this. So I've got a card base that's Seaside Spray to go right along with the stamped image. And I thought it would be pretty to back it with some Rococo Rose. I think that's Rococo Rose. Is that Rococo Rose? Yes. And I use the stitched shapes, dies, And you'll see it gives me a nice frame around. So I just used 2 different size dies, the ones that were next to each other. So this is going to go on our card base like that. And I thought, well, it's pretty, but it needs a little something, something. So yep, we're going to put some ribbon on there. And then I have been playing around with the dies from, what's it called, the little lace. And I cut a big panel. I did a whole sheet using that die. And then I cut some strips that I think will just look adorable for framing this. Now I could have used the whole panel, but I was just playing around. And that way I've got some left if I want to use it on other ones. And see how that just frames that whole thing. And then we'll have our ribbon. And there'll even be room down here for a sentiment. So let's put all this together. Bring out my trusty liquid glue. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Marie. Sandy, if I didn't already say hello, hi. You guys pop on so quick. And you know what? Rather than that, I'm just going to put a thin bead of glue that runs down the side of my mat. It'll be much easier for me to attach thin strips to it than the other way around. All right, so I want, make sure I stay in camera here. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to put this. Come on, I want a little bit more showing. There we go. Right like that. And then this one is ultra small, so I'm going to have to just kind of eyeball this. Make sure I've got the right side. Oh, that went on real nice. All right, so there we go. That's our frame. And I think I want to wrap my ribbon around that. But let me see if I'm going to have enough room. Oh, sure I am. Yeah. All right, so let's work on this piece next. Now, do I want to pop this up? Or do I want to straight glue it down and pop this whole thing up? I'm going to be a little different tonight. I'm just going to pop this piece up and glue this down. So dimensionals, dimensionals, all right, here. So we'll put some dimensionals on. Hope I'm not going too fast, gang, but we've got 4 more cards after this one because I was able to get 5 good pieces when I cut my DSP. All right, so just peel these backings off. Also, I did, when I stamped the flowers in pink, and then I also stamped, oh, come on, crikey, this one does not want to come off at all. There we go. I colored them in with blends because I thought it's great that we have all these outline stamps, but it really adds a little something extra if you can take and do a little coloring as well. So I used petal pink for the flowers, and then I used, what did I use? Daffodil Delight, the dark one, to do the little buds. All right, so I've got this. I'm going to go ahead and put this on. Oops. Backwards, look at me. Very gently in case I need to reposition. Like that. Always get something a little bit crooked. All right, let's try that again. Okay, that's much better. All right, so we've just popped that up. And now I've got room down at the bottom where I can position my ribbon. And to do that, I'll bring in my glue dots. And remember, I always put one right behind the bow. So that way it holds it in place. And I know that when I wrap the ribbon around, it's going to be straight. And then I'll just use glue dots. And I probably don't need quite that much ribbon. Let's trim that down. I don't like the back to be too bulky. All right. So on this goes. we'll just wrap that, well, fadiddle stick. Just wrap it around like that, and we'll do the same with this side. Okay, I'm going to hold it just to make sure. Yep, there we go. All right. Now I think we're ready to mount it onto our card base. And I didn't want to bring in a white sentiment strip because, you know, that's going to draw your eye down towards the sentiment. And for some cards, that's great, but I really want all the focus to be right here. So I'm going to be a little different, and I'm going to stamp it directly on my card base. Yes, I know. It's kind of unconventional to do that, but I tested it out and it really actually looks pretty. And I'm going to choose just popping into, say, and what ink did I use? I used VersaFine. I want it to be really, really black when I do this so that it will stand out against the colored cardstock. So this is either going to work really well or it's going to be a disaster. I only say that because I'm not used to having to stamp. You know, if you stamp on a sentiment strip and you don't do it right, well, you could just do another one. Not quite the case here. So sticking my tongue out, not too bad. All right, now I'm ready to glue this down. And you can see that even though I have the sentiment on there, it's not really detracting from our main panel. Okay, and I'm just going to straight glue this down since we popped up our little design panel. Make sure I get glue all over the back. Put some over your ribbon if you've got that going. I'm not going to put any on the lace cutout because it's got all those holes and I don't like the feel of, you know, tackiness if any of it comes through. So we'll just put this on there and just adjust it a little bit here. And bingo, Bob's your uncle. There's our first card. Not too shabby, eh? Hi, Kathy. All right, so we can put that one away. And let's move on to our next one. Now for the next one, let's work with our Rococo Rose Fairy holding the pen. So that's number 2. And I have all of these put in bags so I wouldn't get them mixed up. And here I went a little different with one of the colors. So I'm sticking with the Pear Pizzazz for my card base, but this just really yelled out to me to use with Pear Pizzazz. And I thought, well, how's that going to work? Because I don't have any Grapefruit Grove that's in my panel. But you know what? That petal pink is just warm enough to where these two will look good together. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I also cut out, oh goodness, what is this from? I'll think of it in a minute. I thought we might use these, kind of like we did the lace strips. I kind of liked how that looked with the panel. So I think we're going to go ahead and use that. But what I need to decide is, do I need to trim this down? So obviously, if the Grapefruit Grove is going to be a matte, this is the same size. So I would need to definitely trim it down. Another option is I can skew these. And you've seen me do that before in the past. I think when I did the butterfly series, I offset them. And that kind of looks really cute too. So I was having a hard time deciding, but can we still use these panels if I do that? What if I put them on here instead? That seems quite busy. So what if we just used it along the bottom of one? So don't pay attention to the fact that it's longer than it should be. So can I tilt it and do that? Just to give a little extra added oomph. But you know what? I think it's too much yellow. It really detracts from what we want to show the most, and that is our fairy. So I'm going to put those aside. I do like offsetting them, but you know what? I need to die cut it for it to look good. So I'm just going to pull out my stitch shapes. Oops, I always turn that one around. Okay, and oh no, I don't want stitch shapes. I'm sorry, I want my rectangles. Rectangle stitch framelits, that would be it. So let's see. This one is that. So I think I'm going to do the next smaller, which is this one. I think we'll still preserve a good bit. Yep, that's looking good to me. So I'm going to put this through the big shot. Pardon me if the camera shakes. I still haven't figured out with this desk how to keep it from shaking. And remember, when you're using any die that has a 90-degree angle in it, you don't want to put it in straight. You want to kind of offset it to make it easier for your big shot to handle it. All right. So there we go. Ooh, that's a cute little frame. I might be able to use that for something. Okay. I'm just going to set these off to the side because who knows, we may need to use them again. But now I think it's going to look much better. So we'll offset this. And I could put this one straight up. And I kind of like the way that looks. It still leaves me room at the bottom to put a sentiment. So I like that. What sentiment do we want to use? Well, let's see. How about happy birthday? We always need birthday cards, right? And again, I'm choosing a small sentiment and I'm going to stamp it directly on the cardstock. And you know, I thought about using the same color ink as the cardstock base for tone on tone, but it didn't show up enough. It was just too pale for the look I was going for. All right, so my VersaFine. If you hear any scratching in the background, that's Miss Winnie. She's unhappy that I'm talking to somebody and she's not in the room. Reminds you of a 2-year-old? Yep, I got 2 of them in this house now. Okay. Again, I'm going to put it right down here in the bottom. Oh, I like that. That's nice. That looks good. And then, all right, so that gives me enough room. So I can put that there and put that straight on. I'm going to glue the mat down this time and pop up the design panel. Because, you know, got to do it. I've been having so much fun today working on some 3D projects. I love doing cards, but I also really enjoy doing 3D projects, as you guys all know. Okay, not going to put any ribbon or anything on this, so I just need my dimensionals. Where'd they go? Oh, they're right in front of me. 4 should do it. Although if you wanted to, you could certainly put 1 in the middle if you were worried about buckling. But this panel is not all that big, so. Crikey, these backings don't want to come out tonight. There we go. Let me know if I'm going too fast, gang, but I would really like to show you all 5 cards that I planned, but I don't want this to go too long. All right, so there you have it. There is our second card. And I may come back later and put a couple little embellishments on it, but nothing that will really change how it looks. All right, so that's card 2 out of the way. How about card 3? Oops. Boy, my arms just aren't long enough. Okay, for card 3, oh, you're going to like this one, gang. You are going to like this one. Again, I think this time we will use that little strip. This comes from the dies that go with the little lace. It is the short strip, not the big old long one, but the short, or the long thin die. That's what I mean to say. And I also am going to use our stitched nested dies that came as part of the Free as a Bird bundle. So this is number 3. Let me find, that's 4. Come on through. Here we go. So this is the piece that we're going to use. And obviously it's landscape. So we're going to use it as such. So what we can do is we can put that there. And then I think this will then go nicely if we tuck it in there. And then we'll do our sentiment and have it right there. So I like that. First thing I'm going to do is glue these 2 pieces together. So it's going to have to be trimmed. So the top is here. And I don't want a whole bunch showing. So I really want to take it right to about there. Scooch that over a little so I can cut that little nibbly off. All right, and then we can trim it down to where it fits. Right like that. All right, I like that. I'm going to straight glue this down. Just like that. All right, now let's look at what we want for our sentiment. And for this, obviously I'm going to want a larger sentiment than what's in the New Wonders, because even the biggest one, way too much. So I thought I would go to the Free as a Bird, since, you know, the dies are part of that bundle. And it's got such beautiful ones, but I'm going to use Your Friendship Means the World to Me. So there we go. So we're going to stamp that in there, but obviously it still leaves us quite a bit of room there, but we'll come up with how we want to decorate that. Let me just stick this on here. Now, because I'm not stamping directly on cardstock, I can pick any of the colors that are in my color palette here. So obviously you don't want to do petal pink because our card base is petal pink. I could use Rococo Rose. Even against the petal pink, I thought it looked okay. But instead, I think I'm going to go with the Pear Pizzazz. And that will really tie both the top and the bottom together. All right, so let me bring in, and here I don't have to worry so much about it being straight, but I do want to make sure it's in the middle. So I have plenty of room there. So yep, right smack dab in the middle is going to be fine. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So we've got that, and that's going to be pretty. I think I want to incorporate just a few of the petal pink flowers into this because, you know, I like flowers. So if I could find them, I would do that. There they are. So I'll bring out my petal pink here. Might even put a, ooh, let's put a few leaves in there. Oh yeah, that'll look good. Yep, the brain's always working there. Half the time I don't know what the heck I'm doing until I'm almost done doing it. But I know you guys understand that well. So I'll bring my leaves back in. I'm just gonna ink the top because we don't want a ton of them. So we'll do some right there. And you know, that might be all we need. And put our flower over here, kind of hanging off the bottom. Well, maybe a little more leaves against the top. I'm just not a big fan of having a lot of white space on a panel like this. Oh yeah, just a few leaves is perfect. Now, I could use, maybe that little flower would go better. Where'd you go, little flower? I swan, I cannot find anything. Well, I guess we'll just use the big one and have it go off the page. Oh, there it is. On a different block. And so we will use the petal pink for that one. And then we'll cut it out. And I love this little flower that has kind of a flatter part to the bottom. I really like that. So we're going to put this, where do we want it? We want it right about there. Will that work? What do you guys think? I think I like it. I think I'm going to keep it. Hi, Sally. And just for continuity's sake, oh, good grief. I love the new ink pads, but I'm still getting used to closing them. For continuity's sake, I'm going to bring in my petal pink blend, the light one, and just quickly fill it in. Nothing fancy. All right, let's die cut this out. I wish you guys could see my desk. Can't find anything. It is just piled with stuff for this. All right, let me see if I can do this straight. This plate is kind of bowed. Oh, well, can use the other one. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to run this through the Big Shot. And we're going to prop this sentiment panel up. Since we got everything just glued down. Oh, look at that. Is that not cute? Oh, I love it. All right, so we'll bring this in. If we wanted to, we could even sponge. Do we want a sponge? Yeah, I think I want a sponge. So we'll sponge it in Rococo Rose. That way we get 3 of the colors that are in the color palette. Oh, I don't need to sponge that big. There we go. Just lightly. I don't want a lot of ink showing through, but I do want to give it just a little separation. And there we go. You can hardly tell, probably, but it definitely shows up. Now, you certainly could cut another of this nested stitch dies as a mat, but I'm cool with this. So let's bring out the dimensionals. And I thought about putting ribbon on here, but you know what? With our cute little yellow trim there, I think that gives us enough. If I look at it for a few days and decide it needs ribbon, that's certainly easy enough to add. Come on. All right. All right, here we go, folks. Well, I didn't stamp that too terribly straight, did I? That's all right, it'll work. Okay, so there is card number 3. And we're moving right along. We've only got 2 left. What's our time like? Oh, yay. We're only at about 30 minutes. All right, and these next 2 will go together really quickly. So for number 4, I have pretty much cut out everything that we need. And for number 4, we're going to use our Purple Posy Peekaboo Fairy. So, of course, I chose Purple Posy cardstock. And these are all just, you know me, I like the top folding 4 1/4 this way by 5 1/2 that way. So I just made all of them that way. All right. So how do we want to, oh, I know how I want to do this. Watch this. So this panel is going to go up here, and then the die from our Good Morning Magnolia set, I'm going to stick that right down here. Probably have to trim it a little bit. So I like that, and that's out of Petal Pink. And then I'll bet you're wondering where in the heck I got this Purple Posy polka dot ribbon, right? Well, I just sponged it with the Purple Posy ink. It's our white polka dot. But I did want a little bit of ribbon to go across there. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to glue that beautiful embossed frame that we have to the bottom. I'm always bad at this. All right. I'm always bad at making sure it's straight. And I want it to be centered because obviously we've got that curve. So I think I've got that centered. Just press that down. And now we'll chop off the little bits that are hanging over. There. You always want to make sure your glue is dry, because if you try to cut it before the glue is dry, yeah, you'll skew your little frame. And I did, there we go. Now it's not. Got to be careful of that. Okay, and next we're going to add our ribbon. And I'm just going to tie it around. I do want the Petal Pink little curvy frame to show through, so I'm putting it right at the bottom of our stamped panel. And again, I'm going to use glue dots. So I've got one right here. And I have to be careful. Sometimes my my white polka dot ribbon doesn't hold on to the glue dots very well. Probably because it's mesh, right? Okay, we don't need all that, so let's trim that down. Yeah, I'm going to definitely get another roll of the polka dot ribbon because it takes to ink by sponging so well. And it only takes just a little bit. Now I'm going to secure this with glue dots, but again, I will be gluing over it with the, or making sure I have a dimensional there so that it doesn't slide off in case it does lose its grip. Feels like it's sticking pretty good though. All right. And do we want to pop this up? You're darn tootin' we do. But what else here? This is my sentiment strip. Teeny tiny. And I really kind of like the balance that it gives. But our Purple Posy cardstock, there's an awful lot of that showing through. So let me show you what I'm going to do. Might look a little bit busy, but we're going to try it. I'm going to take the leaves and the Purple Posy ink, and we're going to do just a little bit of tone-on-tone stamping. And I'm keeping this there for the moment because I want my leaves to come just up to there. So I want them to come across kind of like that. Oh, I like that. Now our sentiment strip is going to look much more balanced. So if you ever have quite a bit of cardstock showing through and you think that your sentiment strip is going to look funny sitting out there all by itself, do some tone-on-tone stamping. It'll make a difference. All right, yep, we're going to pop this up. And we'll put more than 4 dimensionals on this. So I'll put 1 there. And that way I make sure that that ribbon is not going to come undone. Oh, for Pete's sake. And then I'm going to put a couple in the middle. Since this is a horizontal panel, I just want to make sure that it doesn't sag in the middle. Come on. Whew. Get down there. Okay, here we go. Got to pick it up so I can have a halfway decent chance of getting it on there straight. Oh, I like that. That is cute, cute, cute. All right, what are we going to use for our sentiment? Now this calls obviously for an itty bitty, but there are a couple of small ones in our Free as a Bird that I really liked. So I can either use the thank you, the hello, but look at that, thanks for being you. I love that. So let's do hello. Did I already pull it out? No, there it is. It's like, come on, I didn't think I pulled that one out. There we go. I need more blocks. Definitely need more blocks. All right. And I'm not going to do the tone on tone. I'm going to go back and use the, you can use Tuxedo Black from Memento. I'm just using the VersaFine because I love how dark it is. And let me just see if I have this on straight. Not really. Okay, so I need to tilt it down just a little bit. Don't always get the sticker on straight. But there you have it. There is card number 4. And I know that the little Peekaboo Fairy and the Purple Posy, boy, say that fast, looks a little faint in person. It looks a lot darker than that. It's just the light catching it. And if you see any little sparkles, yep, I hit it with a little wink of Stella. All right, are you ready for the last one? Now, remember I said we had that really weird piece? And what the heck are we going to do with this? I think you're going to like it. I mean, I try to use all of the DSP, whether I've stamped it myself or whether it's from Stampin' Up. So, you know, I could do that. And then I thought, well, I could do that, but you know, little blah. So I had another piece of, is that my Rococo Rose? It's either Rococo Rose or Blushing Bride, but I think it's Rococo Rose. And what I did was I just cut out a piece that will frame it, just like that. And then when I do this, it has some nice balance to it. So it looks like my, to me it looks like a mirror, but my sentiment strip, it looks like this is actually framing it when it's actually framing it. So kind of an optical illusion. I like those. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Obviously, we're going to glue this down first, and then we'll put this one on top and glue it down. So let's do that. And if my measurements look like they might be just a tad off, but remember, you can always go in and trim up your cardstock if that ever happens. If your card base is a little bit bigger than what you wanted it, just trim it off. It's okay. Nobody will get mad at you. All right, so this is going to go right there. Now, do we want to straight glue this down, or we could pop it up? Nope, I'm going to straight glue it because we'll pop up the sentiment panel, which is just one of our stitched ovals. All my stitched dies really got to work out with this one. And I'm going to butt it up all the way against here, this side. And see how I've got just a little teeny bit of the cardstock showing through? I can go in and trim that up. All right. So we can use a nice big sentiment. What should we choose? Let's see. If we go to Free as a Bird, your friendship means the world to me would be nice. We could even do a little bird on it because, hello, we don't see any fairies here. All we're seeing is floral. So we could do that. I had another one though. Let me pull out of my project box here. Love to Celebrate You would also be a really nice one. That's from our Butterfly Wishes. And I like the a little lace, but I want the font to be bolder. I think with an unusual design like that, you need bold in order for your eyes to really go there. So let's go ahead and choose Love to Celebrate You. Choose right up here. And here, since we're not, oh, that wasn't smart. Just put my thumb in the ink. Since we're not stamping directly onto cardstock, we can pick whatever color we want. And I'm thinking, I don't necessarily want to use Pear Pizzazz. Let's go with the Petal Pink. That might be a little too light. All right, let's go with the Rococo Rose, maybe. Let's see how that looks. We can test it out first. Ah, perfect. I'm going to like it. The next thing to decide is we can throw some leaves on here, which might be nice. We could throw one of the butterflies. Ooh. In yellow. Ooh. I'm thinking the butterfly. And I love this butterfly. So we're going to have, plenty of room. So I can do both leaves and butterfly. Yay! All right. So I just need to get this straight, or as straight as I can. Let me just see something here. I got that sticker on straight. Good. Pardon my head if it gets in the way. But I think this is going to be just dark enough. Yes. Yes. All right. Now we can bring in our leaves. Let me close this up. So we'll use our Pear Pizzazz for that. And then the one color we really haven't used, even though it's in the stamp part, is the Daffodil Delight. So we'll have a chance to use that color, since you can see it in a few places on the stamped DSP that I did. All right, let's do our leaves first, since I've got that open. Now, if you're worried about, say you don't think that, don't want your leaves as dark as they were on your DSP, remember you can always stamp off to get a much lighter. You could even stamp over this whole, ooh, yes, we can stamp over that whole sentiment panel if we stamp off. Because what that will do is push everything into the background. Check it out. Oh, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Okay, now let's bring in our butterfly. And I need Daffodil Delight, Linda. Well, it's out. What to do with it? I swear, I just had it. It is nowhere to be found. Ay caramba. Oh, we can use the saffron, but that really bugs me. Oh well. We're just going to go with saffron. It'll be okay. Let me just make sure. Yep, that's going to look great. And this I'm going to do full strength because I want that yellow to show through. Oh. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. We are going to pop this up. I'm wondering if we should do a mat for it, gang. What do you think? Should we do a quick mat for it? I think I've got some yellow already out. And we'll just bring in, oh, but you know what? That might be the largest. Let's go to our layering ovals and see if there's one big enough, because I know I used the largest stitched one for that. So will this work? That's almost too much. The next size down, maybe? No, that's going to be the same size. Decisions. That's the only thing. If I do that, see, it takes up that whole space. So we'll do the next best thing, and we'll just sponge it. That'll work too, and I'm going to do it in the yellow. And where's my sponge? Use the other side of that. And just lightly, just so that it will stand away from that pear pizzazz. Even though Whisper White looks great against the pear pizzazz, when you've got a lot going on, like we do in this card, you might want to just, and what I'm doing is I'm sponging, trying to sponge right to the stitch line. And that will sort of make it look like we have a mat. Okay. Here we go. We're going to pop this one up. So here's dimensionals. Man, the pollen has been horrible here today. You can just see it. We have a pond out back, and you can just see the film on the pond. And I have had a tickle in my throat. I was afraid I was going to cough through this whole thing. All right, here we go. And I just set it down gently so that I can pick it up if I need to, but no, I like it. So that is our last card. Woohoo! So in just under an hour, we looked at how to make your own DSP, as well as how to cut it up to make the most use of the parts you want. And just from that 8x8 piece that we stamped, or that I stamped earlier, we got 5 different cards. Woohoo! What do you guys think? I'm pretty excited about that. So now I have 5 cards that I can add to my box to send everything out. And you know what? I still have 2 more pieces. Now, because it's 4 1/4, this could very easily go on the inside of the card, and I still have a panel that I can work in somehow. I'll figure out what to do with it. So absolutely no waste whatsoever with this project. Hey, Karen. Yeah, I saw Mary was doing something that looked really cool. I'll have to go back and catch hers. Thanks, Kathy. I think the color combo really worked well with this one. Marie, yep, those flowers and leaves. Ever since I got Very Versailles, it's hard for me not to put leaves on everything. Hi, Cynthia. No worries coming in late. You can watch it from the beginning. And thank you so much for sharing. And Cynthia, you are more than welcome to attend any of my videos that you would like. And if you have any questions about how I've done something, just reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you with that. Hello, Lisa. Reorganizing your dies? Yeah, that is a project, all right. Okay, well, it is 5 minutes before, so I did keep this under an hour. Yay, yay. So thanks everybody for attending. And I haven't thought of what to do for next Saturday's live. So if you have any ideas, please drop me a comment and I'll be happy to use your suggestions. I hope you guys have a blessed day tomorrow and a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye now.